maintains fiscal independence from St. John's Church, meaning we take no funding from the church for these programs or our many other outreach programs that the women of St. John's carry out worldwide. There are also WELCA booklets at the registration table describing WELCA's work here at St. John's and the contacts for our committees and special groups. Please take one if you are interested in joining in on some of the service projects, activities, or field trips hosted by the women of our church, such as WELCA's ever-popular mission morning that will be on April 26th from 9 to 11. May 3rd is the Cannon River Conference spring event that will be held at Vang Church from 8 to noon. Registration forms are at the desk back there and on the bulletin board. Mark May 10th from 10 to noon on your calendars, as well as that is WELCA's 150th anniversary brunch, and it's free. You can read about all this and more on the women's pages in the April Voice or on the women's pages on the St. John's website. Following the program, we will have a Q&A, and you are welcome to step up to the microphone with your questions. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the members of the Justice Education Committee of WELCA. Joe Franklin, Don Tomerdahl is not with us this evening, Michelle Kramer-Prevost, and Margie O'Laughlin. Yes, and now I will invite Margie O'Laughlin to introduce our speaker.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Thanks so much for coming out on this gray evening. Tonight is our 6th of 7 Courageous Conversations for 2024-2025. This year's presenters have shared their stories and told us about their chosen work under the theme, We Belong to One Another. So far, we've heard from a grassroots political organizer, an author, a fiber artist, a student with ties to the people of Gaza, and a trio from St. Olaf's Honest Storytelling Project. It is tricky planning a year-long speakers series because, of course, we have no way of knowing what the state of the world will be from one month to another. To that point, tonight's presenter, community song leader, educator, and activist Sarina Partridge wisely chose Songs for the Moment as her working title when she accepted our invitation to join us last summer. It is not a coincidence that Sarina is here with us tonight in April, the month of Earth Day. She has a passion for connecting people with their own creativity and with community. As a community song leader, Sarina works with singers and non-singers alike to unite voices, to help people deepen their sense of wonder for the natural world around us. Footnote regarding Earth Day. This is hard to believe. This year marks the 55th anniversary of the first Earth Day. April 22nd, 1970 is considered the birthday of the modern environmental movement, a day of both celebration and of protest. It is worth mentioning that Earth Day was the brainchild of two conservation-minded politicians, a Democratic senator and a Republican congressman. I offer that up as a bipartisan morsel of hope. Before turning it over to Sarina, I'll close with a poem that we've read aloud for you each month in this series of presentations. If you've attended a few of our courageous conversations this year, maybe the words will sound familiar. But since we're already shaken up the Lutherans and guests by making you sit in a circle, I'm going to ask you to stand. And if you're not too concerned about this next part, maybe even catch the hand of your neighbor. The poem I will read speaks to a circle of shared humanity, a sphere as big as the whole earth. And maybe by standing together, it will help us to imagine that we really do belong to one another. I'm just going to say this without the mic. Oh, too bad. Here, we'll hold hands. The poem is called Meditation by writer Brian McLaren. This is my dream, and perhaps it is your dream too, that in this time of turbulence, when worlds are falling apart, all of us with willing hearts can stand and come together with one another, poor and rich, whatever our race or gender, whatever our religion or education. I dream that we can come together in a circle of shared humanity, in a sphere as big as the whole earth, to rediscover ourselves as Earth's multicolored, multicultural children, members of Team Earth. It gives me great joy to introduce our presenter for this evening, Sarina Partridge.
I think Team Earth is going to win in the end. Thank you for that so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Sarina Partridge. I live in Minneapolis, but I went to college at Carleton, so it's always Team Earth and Team Carleton. If you didn't cheer, it's okay. I'm not mad. It's always great to have a reason to be in Northfield, so thank you so much for the invitation and the chance to connect, and the chance to connect with all of you. I will introduce myself more, but just to go there, we're actually gonna start with singing. So, disclaimer. Are we singing to perform? No. Are we singing to get something perfect? No. Are we singing to express something? Yeah, probably. Have fun? It's possible. Connect with each other? Hopefully. So I know that there is just so much bound up in the voice, and we're really taught to think of ourselves like, I'm a singer, I'm not a singer, I'm a bad singer, whatever. Tonight, I hope you can just let your voice be a little bit free. I've heard from someone I met at a singing weekend that what if we thought about good singing and bad singing like more free singing and less free singing. So our good is going to be as free as we can make it. That's the goal. So I'm just going to start by teaching you a simple back and forth welcome song. And all the songs that I teach tonight are songs I've written. So you can go and share them willy-nilly. It's fine with me. See if you can echo this back to me. Welcome in, open hearts, open hearts. Don't we sound great together already? Welcome in, open hearts, open hearts. Welcome in, open hearts, open hearts. And then we'll try to sing this part together. We will sing our way to wholeness. We will sing our way to wholeness, being whole. That's what I'm talking about. Let's try that together. We will sing our way to wholeness. You got it. Welcome in, Courageous hearts, welcome in, courageous hearts, welcome in, courageous hearts. Then together we will sing our way to wholeness. So this time I'm going to ask the group, how actually are you? So we can change the words together. Welcome in. What kind of hearts are in the room tonight? Anyone got an idea? Earth-loving hearts. This time I'll just be on the call. You all are on your own for the echo. And are there any harmony singers, people who like that? I heard some things coming out of people's mouths. You're welcome to harmonize. So we'll welcome in earth-loving hearts. Welcome in earth-loving hearts. Welcome in earth-loving hearts. Welcome in earth-loving hearts. Then together we will sing our way to wholeness. How else are our hearts today? Who's got something to share? Thankful hearts. The harmonies are beautiful. Welcome in thankful hearts. Welcome in thankful hearts. Welcome in thankful hearts. Then together we will sing our way to wholeness. And let's do one more. We're going to welcome in our hearts, just in whatever state they're in. Welcome in our hearts. Welcome in, or you can sing with me, our hearts. Welcome in our hearts. Welcome in our hearts. We will sing our way to wholeness. Let's do one more of those. We will sing our way to wholeness. Beautiful. Welcome. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. And also, hi, Mary. One of my professors from Carleton is here. That's so cool. I haven't seen you in a long time. I studied geology at Carleton. Yeah, that's right. It's all about the soils. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here this evening and for being willing to come in close and share your voices with each other. And I want to name, too, that singing is a vulnerable thing. I know that. And no one's going to get all up in your face and force you to sing tonight. That's not the plan. If you want to be here listening to the music, that's a way to be in the singing too. So however you want to participate is good by me. I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. So my name is Sarina Partridge. I live in Minneapolis, and I came to my work creating songs and leading singing in kind of a funny way. I studied geology and education, and most of my adult working life, I've been a classroom teacher first of science, and then I got really into outdoor education, and then I ended up at a school that was really excited about arts being integrated into everything. And I've always loved to sing, but have no sort of training in it in any legitimate way. But first graders don't really care about that. So I would sing with my students and found that, oh, wow, singing changes a group of strangers into a community more efficiently and completely than anything I learned in teacher school. And so I got really excited about what else singing could do in that school. And I said to the faculty chair, hey, what if we sang before our staff meetings? Maybe we would hate each other a little bit less by the end of a Thursday afternoon. And then I thought, well, what if we started our parent evenings with some singing together? I wonder what that would shift in how people listen to each other and hear things that maybe are hard to hear about their kids. And it just really got a fire lit in me to explore what singing could do in service of other work that we care about. And I ended up getting so excited about that I needed to leave the classroom and go on this wacko path, which is what I'm on right now with all of you. Ta-da! So my work life is a real hodgepodge of where can singing live in support of the work that we care about. So I lead a few community choirs in Minneapolis. I also am really interested in how collective singing, like what we just did, can actually be integrated into a more holistic idea of what healthcare is. So I work with a therapist running a song circle in support of people with anxiety and depression. I work with the libraries running a singing group for people with their infants, which is such an isolating time for many people. And I do a lot of song leading with older adults with disabilities, especially dementia, which is incredible, and I learn so much every time. And I also sing and play instruments with a band called Heartwood, and we just got back from our first international tour. I'm like off the plane yesterday, back from England, where I was for the last month, leading singing workshops and working with community choirs. So it's a real mix what I get up to with singing. But I think the thread that connects it is singing for connection rather than singing for perfection. And what doorways can singing open up for community building work? So this evening, I'll be speaking some and singing some, hopefully with you. We'll see what happens. But I'll be talking about singing as a tool for connecting with each other and our deepest values. So singing as a spiritual and communal practice, and how song can help us meet this moment rooted in the power of our voices. Whether you think of yourself as an activist or not, everybody in this room has deeply held values and ethics that are super important to you, that you live by, which might make you an activist. We'll see. And I believe that singing can be a way in to real connection with each other, with the ground that we stand on, and also with ourselves. Can open us up to heartfelt reflection on the realities of these challenging times, and they are challenging. And I think singing can support us in taking authentic action as a way to hold us to stay in the movements that we deeply care about with real hope for the long haul. And anyone who's worked in any kind of social justice realm, social services realm, you know it's a long game and people burn out. So how do we keep ourselves in these movements for the long haul? I think singing can help. I don't know everything about singing, or really anywhere close, but I do know that we do effective work in the world when we bring our whole embodied selves to our movements, connecting head, heart, and hands. And for me, singing really helps me do that. Helps me stay with difficult situations and difficult feelings and take action in alignment with my values. I actually think it's magic. That's my feeling. And am I the first person who's thought about singing as essential in social movement work? No. Thankfully. People have been doing this for a very long time. I think gathering to sing has probably been at the heart of human communities forever, maybe. And singing has been and is at the heart of resistance movements around the world, mostly led really bravely and brilliantly by people of color, frequently women of color, often with great risk. Many of you probably were part of civil rights movement demonstrations that involved a lot of singing. Is that true for folks in this room? Yeah. And it's not over, and has a really long and beautiful history of how singing has supported movement work. I've been really lucky to get to travel and study folk music in many parts of the world, especially harmony singing, and learn about how harmony singing really held those resistance movements in South Africa, the Republic of Georgia, Corsica, that's part of France technically. These are some places I've been to study folk music and how it's supported resistance movements. And traveling to those places really lit a fire in me to learn more about what I could bring to my own little communities that could support the movement work that we're involved with singing. And like, what are the songs that I have any right to lead? Well, I could try to write some songs that might meet the groups that I'm a part of. And I got involved in a lot of climate justice work, leading singing at events, especially around all the Line 3 pipeline struggles, which I imagine many of you were a part of. And I learned a lot about the work of an author named Joanna Macy, her books are from a long time ago, but they're super duper relevant still. And I've kind of created a program based on some of her work that's using singing to help people plug into climate justice work. So what I'm hoping to do with you tonight is move through a program together that will weave together some singing, some reflecting, some chatting with each other, and move us towards what actions are we really invested in for whether it's climate justice or any number of crises that might be rolling around in your mind and heart right now. But we're going to move through that with singing. Wow. And when I invite you to join in the singing, are you required to join me? No. This is not a scary place. An invitation is an invitation, which means you can say yes or no, or you can say no and then join in the middle when it starts to seem fun and you change your mind. Because so much is bound up in our voices. I hear everywhere I go to lead singing, there's at least one person in the room who had a teacher tell them to like lip sync in choir. Has that happened to anyone in this room? Yeah, it's terrible. Having been a teacher for so many years, I'm like, oh my God, how could you do that to a kid? But it happens. Or even a parent who's like, I'm going to turn the radio up because I don't really want to hear you in the back of the car singing along. And it's so vulnerable to share your voice. So the way I think about it is that we've really been taught, I would say societally, that unless you're a professional artist, art really isn't for you, except maybe quietly. And I hope that doesn't feel true to anyone in this room, but it might. And I just like to think about who wins when we tell ourselves that we have a bad voice and we don't get to sing. Because it's not us. We don't win when that happens. So I hope you can just join in as freely as possible. However you're arriving is just right. And I wonder, does everyone in this room kind of already know each other? Okay, then here's my challenge to you before we dive into what's next. Try to find someone you don't know yet and introduce yourselves. And if you don't want to get up from your chair, just give a wave and make somebody come to you, because I bet they will. That's okay, we'll support you. But see if you can find someone new to meet, or you can just hide and have an antisocial moment. Go ahead. All right, see if you can wrap up your convo with your new bestie. Beautiful. Great, okay, here's the pop quiz. On the count of 3, you're gonna say the name of the person you were just talking to. If you already forgot, I'm sorry. But no one will really know. But see if you can remember the name of the person you were just talking to, and we'll all say it on the count of 3. You ready? 1, 2, 3. You all got it right. That's incredible. You're so good. Okay, so my hope tonight is to think about how can singing in community support us showing up for the causes that we care about. So I want to know, what are some causes or movements or issues that are really important to people in this room? And I'm happy to come around with the microphone for anyone who wishes to speak. You don't have to make a speech, but what's something that's important to you, a cause or an issue that you care about right now? Climate change and the threat to the environment. Actually, let's just do it that way. Shout it out and I'll repeat it into the microphone too. Thank you. What else?
Our Mexican neighbors at Viking Terrace.
Our Mexican neighbors at Viking Terrace. Thank you. What else? College and graduate students being deported. Yeah. What else? Women's health care. What else? Say it again. Threats to our democracy. Thank you. Yeah. Christian nationalism. Yeah. What else? Yeah. Immigrant children, college students being sent back. Yeah. Thank you. Care for our veterans. Thank you. Yeah. Women's bodies. Thank you. Homelessness and affordable housing. Thank you. Yeah. Healthcare. Thank you. Yeah. Genocide. Thank you. Yeah. People's fear of the unfamiliar. Thank you. Palestinians dying. Thank you. Hunger. Thank you. Nuclear weapons. Yeah. Thank you. Fascism. Yeah. Friends in Ukraine. Thank you. People serving in the military who don't want to but are being forced to. Thank you. Yeah. And then later deported. Something over here I missed. Earthquakes. Thank you. The demolishment of U.S. international aid. Thank you. Hey, we've got a lot on our minds and hearts. We could go on, but let's just take 2 deep breaths together, trying to hold some of what was just shared. So it would be totally reasonable to be completely overwhelmed by the challenges that we face, right? And despair freezes us and keeps us from acting in the ways that we know can make a difference. So how do we hold that? The hugeness of all the things we care about and the need to keep acting and moving forward. I think that coming back to an activity we can do together that's real and gives us ways to connect can be a piece of the answer. I don't think it's the whole answer, but I think it can be a piece of the answer. So with that in mind, in we go. You ready? Okay, get your diving hands, because we're going in. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Welcome. So the thing is, we care so much. That's why it's so overwhelming. But it's good that we care so much. So I want to take us into a place where I start when I think about, wow, this is a huge and overwhelming, abstract thing I'm worried about. Where do I begin? Well, I'm going to start with gratitude that I care so much. That's where I'm going to begin and lean into that. So I'm going to focus for a moment on what's going on with our climate. One of many things we care deeply about. So it can be really overwhelming to think of the changes that are happening, but I'm going to start with my gratitude that I care so much. And one thing that I'm grateful for is the way that in nature I can feel a really strong sense of belonging and connection. Does that ring true for anyone else? So one moment that comes to mind when I think of a time I felt so grateful for the belonging and connection that I felt in nature was I was camping on this little island in Lake Superior with my 2 friends who are so brave, and it was really windy and the water was crazy, and they were like, let's go out into the storm, and they kind of set off out to the windiest parts of the island, and I was like, I don't know, I don't think that's a good idea. And I kind of went into the middle of the island, and I found this mossy little bowl where I could see the trees bending over in the big wind, but felt like I'm safe here. And I had this really strong experience of safety and connection with the earth. So I want you each to think about this question. Can you think of a time when you felt a really strong sense of belonging and connection in nature? Think about that for a moment. Can you think of a time, like a specific time, when you felt a really strong sense of belonging and connection in nature? And if it's something you imagine, that could count too. Imagination's a real thing. Give a head nod if you can think of a time like that. Okay, I would love to hear, well, no, we're going to do it this way. I would love for you to turn to someone or someone's near you, 1 or 2 or 3 people, whatever. Or if you want to just take this as a moment to reflect for yourself and think about that moment, that story, that's great too. We're just going to take a few minutes to share a story of belonging and connecting in nature. Does that make sense, what I'm asking? Okay, so see if you can find someone or someones to turn and talk with, or reflect for yourself. If not everyone in your group has talked, let that last person get a word in.
Wait, come back. Where is that?
Just over the border.
That's so beautiful.
Thanks for sharing. All right, and before you truly finish, make sure you thank each other for sharing your stories. Beautiful. Thank you so much. So we share this deep connection to nature. And in the work that I've done around climate activism, it makes so much sense to me to start there. And sometimes movement work kind of skips that part, but I think it really matters. I had this moment a few winters ago. I was out walking on a frozen lake, like you do, of course. And I love winter. It's like my time. When your nostrils freeze in the middle, I'm like, yes. Anyways, I had been reading the book Braiding Sweetgrass. I mean, so good. So much in there. And one little nugget that was really blowing my mind at that time was this piece I had read about where does a sense of responsibility for the earth come from? And this was my interpretation, so I hope I'm doing okay, Robin, wherever you are. Correct me if I'm wrong. But my interpretation was, doesn't a sense of responsibility for land, for human community, for anything, doesn't that flow out of a sense of belonging to? And maybe instead of kind of like trying to thwack people over the head with this, like, you should feel more responsible for the planet, we should work on cultivating our sense of belonging to the planet. And maybe that's the crisis, that we feel so disconnected from the earth. So cultivating our sense of belonging and connection is actually a hugely important part of addressing the climate crisis. That was what I interpreted her as saying, and I was like, whoa. And this song came through that I would like to teach you now while I was out walking on that lake and thinking about braiding sweetgrass. So the words are, I belong to the woods and the water. Let's try that. I belong to the woods and the water. I belong to the sky and the snow. I belong to the sky and the snow. I belong to the root and the seedling. I belong to the root and the seedling, and I am coming home. And I am coming home. That's it. So I'll sing a little bit, and then we'll sing it together. I belong to the woods and the water. Let's try it. I belong to the woods and the water. Yeah, the second part is like, and the water. Let's try that. And the water. That's it. I belong to the woods and the water. I belong to the woods and the water. I belong to the sky and the snow. Try that. I belong to the sky and the snow. That's it. Let's go back to the beginning. And sorry, I can't do that for any more time. I worked with a friend of mine who is hearing impaired, and she's been teaching me sign language for some of the songs that I teach. So I'm going to start doing the sign language signs that she taught me, and if you want to join me, you can. Preview, it's going to be like this. I is one way you can say I. Belong is like you make your little Junior Birdman eyes, but then they connect. Belong. So we'll say, I belong to the woods and the water. And with the singing, that'll sound like this. I belong to the woods and the water. Exactly, let's try that again. I belong to the woods and the water. Yeah, and then we'll sing, I belong, we know that part already, to the sky and the snow sprinkles down. Let's try that line together. I belong to the sky and the snow. That's it. And then our next line, we haven't learned yet. I belong to the root and the seedling. Let's try that. I belong to the root and the seedling. Yes. And then the last line is, and I am coming home. And this is a little tricky. Oh, I'm going to stand. I forgot. You can stand. So my friend who taught me this sign language, she was like, well, this doesn't really mean home like a house, but I feel like what you're talking about is coming home to yourself. So that made sense to her, and I was like, yeah, that's it. So we'll sign I, and then coming is like go gather yourself up, bring yourself back in, and my right fist kind of lands where my heart is, and then my left fist is somewhere else. If you switch it around, I won't be mad. But it's I am coming home. Beautiful. And it sounds like this. And I am coming home. Let's try that together. And I am coming home. And that happens twice. And I am coming home. Let's try to sing the whole thing together. And I want you to go back in your imagination to that moment, that story that you shared, and kind of sing with that image in your imagination sphere, in the theater, okay? We can sing to that. I belong to the woods and the water is how we start. Here we go. I belong to the woods and the water. I belong to the sky and the snow. I belong to the root and the seedlings, and I am coming home, and I am coming home. Let's sing the whole thing one more time. I belong to the woods and the water. I belong to the sky and the snow. I belong to the roots and the seedlings, and I am coming home, and I am coming home. One more of those. And I am coming home. That was so beautiful, you all. Oh, thank you. Were you able to keep that place in your imagination while we sang? How was that? Anyone have any reflections you care to share? And if no one talks, I won't feel awkward. It's fine. But anyone want to reflect at all? Oh, well, I'll give a better invitation in the future. She said she wanted to stand up, but she was too shy. I'll do a better job inviting that. Thank you. Anything else people want to share? Yeah. It is a beautiful place. You are right. Thank you for sharing.
I found the body movements to engage me much more than the visual.
The body movements were engaging. Thanks for going with it. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I just imagine, what if we could sing together like that and share our stories like that and then go into a legislative lobby day? I think it's different. And it's not impossible. So rooting in the caring and our gratitude that we do care so deeply, I think is a really important part of social justice work. So thanks for going for that.
And then we go in as a community,
Totally.
few clusters of individuals and each other.
And that makes me want to share a little story. This is what happens when you give me a microphone. Sorry. But I've been involved a little bit with some work to exonerate someone who was wrongfully incarcerated and is still in prison. And we went to the county courthouse, and it was actually pretty frightening. There are all these very heavily armed guards and officials, and you try to be brave, but it's pretty scary. And people were getting really riled up. The officers who were there were also getting really riled up. And I was like, can we sing? I don't know. I was shy, but we did start singing eventually, and it completely shifted the energy. People are really embarrassed to be a jerk with a community of singers. They might still do it, but they'll feel ashamed. And my experience was they actually changed their behavior. So that shift that happens for us as the singers in community somehow ripples out and also changes the people around us. There's some power there. Has anyone else experienced that kind of thing before? Would we like to experience it more? Yes, please. So, starting from a place of gratitude that we care, we have to get to a place of, well, if we care so much, then we're going to feel pretty heartbroken when we also hold the suffering that is real. There's no way around it. You need the grief if you have the love and care. And I think sometimes movement spaces don't quite make enough room for people's grief around the horrors of war and genocide, around the destruction of the planet, around what our unhoused neighbors are going through, getting through a Minnesota winter, and all the challenges that we're seeing with our own eyes. If we don't get to talk about the grief part, our movements are pretty hollow. And I think people can get pretty disillusioned with social justice work if there isn't space to talk about what hurts and the reality of the pain. So I want to teach a song for that, and then we can talk a little bit about a time when the pain of one of these issues that we really care about, when that really came home for you. But first, I'm going to teach you a little song, okay? And this is a song that came to me when a really dear mentor of mine died, and I was like, I feel so much grief and it's really painful. Can we like turn that down a little bit? I can't really handle it. And I felt like there was this voice that was like, well, sure, you can be in less pain, but that will also diminish the amount of love you get to feel for this person. Like, is that okay with you? They're kind of the same thing. And I was like, oh, fine. So kind of turning to my body and asking for help, holding the hugeness of the grief so that I could continue holding the hugeness of the love. So the words are just, grief moving through me, let my body feel the waves of love and grief. And then you're back at the beginning again. Sounds like this. I'll sing the whole thing and then break it up into parts to teach you. Grief moving through me, let my body feel the waves of love and grief. Moving, then you're back at the beginning. So here's a little piece at a time. Grief moving through me. Let's try that together. Grief moving let's do that again. Grief moving through me. Let my body, try that. Let my body, beautiful. Let me put those two together for you. Grief moving through me. Let my body, let's try that together. Grief moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love. Feel the waves of love and grief. And then we'll be back at the beginning. So let's try from feel the waves of love and grief, and then we'll keep going because we'll be back at the beginning. Feel the waves of love and grief moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love and grief moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love and grief moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love. Try without me and you got this. Let my body. And grief moving through me. Feel free to add a harmony. Let my body feel the waves of, if you want to stand, you can. Moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love and grief moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love and grief moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love and grief moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love and grief. One more time. Moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love and grief. Yeah. Give your heart a little love for that one. And yeah, I think it's important to name for ourselves what's at stake for us personally, to make it real about whatever the issue is that we care about. And as we named at the beginning, we care about a lot of things in this room. So I want you to think about this question. What was a time when the reality of some challenge we face came home to you in a personal way? Can you remember specifically a moment? and I'll share a story that came to mind when I was preparing for this. So I'm Jewish. I was raised Jewish, loved it. I was, #1 star student at Hebrew school. You better believe it. And one of the things that you're supposed to do as a Jewish person is collect tzedakah, which is like charity money. And people donate it to all kinds of different causes. The cause that I really got hooked on and like trick-or-treated for that money, I was out there collecting tzedakah all the time, was planting trees in Israel, because that's what, I love trees. Who doesn't love trees? And the way that this was kind of taught to us as kids was like, there's nothing there in Israel. There's nothing there, but you could be a part of planting trees in the desert. And of course, that seems like a good thing. Seemed like a good thing to me. And so all up through my bat mitzvah, and even a little bit past, I was collecting money for this organization that plants trees in Israel. And I didn't go on one of those. Have you all ever heard of Birthright? It's like a program that sends young, like Jewish teenagers mostly, on a free trip to Israel. I didn't do that. I was scared of flying. But many people I know did. And I remember someone coming back from one of those trips, and they're very pro-Israel, at least then, always very anti-Palestinian Zionist programs. That's who puts this on. I remember hearing from a friend when she came back that they had gone past this like raised Palestinian village, and all the buildings were rubble, and there were trees planted there, and they all had signs from this organization that I'd been, collecting all my coins for all my life. And that was a moment for me when I was like, whoa, what is happening? And how am I implicated in it? And because I had this whole years-long connection to these trees, it really hit home in a personal way and shifted my course and kind of woke me up and started a whole new path of learning, which we're not going to get into right now. But my question for you to think about is, can you recall a time when one of the challenges that we face really came home for you in a personal way? And I'm just noticing, like, whoa, even thinking about that time, my face is getting hot. I feel really nervous. It's like an intense, full body memory of a time when my perspective on the world had to change because I learned something new. Whew. So thanks for listening. I appreciate that. And I'm curious, does a moment come to mind for any of you which could be about the climate crisis, racism, xenophobia, all kinds of things? Does a moment come to mind for anyone in the room? So here's what I'm going to invite you to do. I'm going to invite you to turn and chat with maybe someone new. And it might be that not everybody can pull one to mind. That's okay. But see if you can at least find somebody's story to listen to, and it might remind you of something too. So we'll take a few minutes, and the question again is, can you think of a time when really the pain, the grief of a real crisis came home for you in a personal way? Does that question make enough sense to go off of? Okay, so see if you can find someone or someones to chat with. Maybe different people, but you choose. Go. And we're not going to spend super long here, so see if there's other people in your group who also want to share. Try to give them a chance. See if you can find a way to wrap this up. All right. Come on back. Sure. Okay, you need to switch now. We need more time. I respect that. I know it's painful to not talk all night, but see if you can wrap it up. Grief moving through me, let my body feel the waves of love and grief moving through me. Let my body feel the waves of love and grief. And if you didn't get a chance to, will you thank the people that you were talking with? That's important. And if you feel like you just started a conversation that you need to come back to, that's good. That's a good thing. So there's much to grieve, and it's personal. There's a lot at stake for each of us. And yet, humans who cause so much destruction and suffering, humans are also our reason to be hopeful. Isn't that wild? Because look who's here. This is a community that shows up for each other, people who are willing to learn and do the work of educating themselves and trying to understand people across divides. Humans are our reason to be hopeful, even as they are also often a reason that we feel a lot of grief for the world. So I also want us to think about a story of human resilience, or people organizing to do repair work, to overcome. And a story that comes to mind for me, actually, this was recently, I was at a training for like knowing your rights around ICE, the Immigration Enforcement Agency. knowing your rights so that you can help educate people about their rights if you happen to, as a citizen of the U.S., be a witness to an ICE raid. Know your rights. So I was assuming that all the people there were, you know, my Minneapolis lefty community, but the person that I sat next to, we turned and introduced ourselves, and he said he had driven like 4 hours to get to this training. He's a farmer because he wanted to know how to support his workers. And that really felt to me like, wow, I've got to check my assumptions about who cares about this issue and why, and who's willing to show up and why. And it gave me a lot of hope, and humility too, but a lot of hopefulness. So I'm curious if anything comes to mind when you think about what's a story you've heard or something you've witnessed that does give you hope. And for this one, I am going to come around with the microphone. Just try and stop me. And you can be brief. You don't have to tell us the whole thing, but a little nugget. Hold on. Is it on? Oh. Hello. Hello? Hello. Okay. So, what's something that gives you hope? Who's got a little story to share? Yeah, and get the mic up close to you so we can hear you.
Thank you. Here in Northfield, we have a group of people who are helping our neighbors at Viking Terrace to know their rights. They meet at Emmaus Church and they educate everybody at Viking Terrace and in the community. So it's a place where we can learn about that right now if ICE comes to town. Thank you.
Anyone else care to share?
The name escapes me, but the 25 hours that the man stood in from the Senate, Cory Booker. Oh my, that brought me hope.
So the wonderful kids in our church, every year for the last 3 years, have participated in this UCC thing called Cards of Climate Hope. First year we sent them all to the EPA. Second year, I forget where they went. But mostly they just spend a couple of hours on a Sunday morning making pictures. And I noticed they just went up on our wall. There are about 18 or 19 of them. Alice, who is a kid I know pretty well, Alice did 3 of them. They all signed them. And they're quite wonderful. There's a whale, there's a number of rainbows, there's a number that's things that say don't litter, not spelled quite right. And they are charming, and it makes me feel good that these children have not succumbed to cynicism or whatever, and are still happy to do their thing.
This is just a little thing, but our Pastor Jonathan here gave a children's sermon the other day about the passage in Scripture about the fig tree. And he was talking about manure and talking about, what is it when you let things, they're in this bucket and right away the kids, that's a composting bucket. And I thought, wow, these little kids were maybe 5 or 6, and the awareness they had of composting, that's kind of an everyday thing in their life. And I didn't learn about composting till when I moved to Northfield.
That's awesome. Thank you. Anyone else have one last thing to share? Yes.
My daughter teaches an explorer club, after school near the Mississippi River in the cities. And they took on a project last year of taking a black plastic bag with them to the river. And they ended up gathering every single week, and the school weighted up over 300 pounds of garbage. And the kids were so excited that they don't want to play in the river around garbage. They picked it up. They were excited.
Thank you. And if you have a story, but you didn't want to share it out loud, can you just be like, yeah, I've got one? Anyone else still have one? You don't have to say it, but they're out there. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And that hope is just as real as the grief, and just as urgent, I think, to cultivate. So let's just get a little of that hope into our bodies with a song. I want to teach you one more song tonight. I kind of used up all of the question time, but I don't regret it. So this is a song that came to me when I've been asked to lead singing at rallies and protests and stuff like that, and wanted a song that focused on what the future is calling forward from us. So it sounds like this. The future is calling for justice. Can we try that together? The future is calling for justice. That's it. Can you feel it? Try that. Can you feel it? That happens twice. Can you feel it? Yeah. And if you like, you can add a little echo like this. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Yeah, you figured it out. So you could sing with me or add that little echo. Let's go back to the beginning and get there. Here's where we start. The future is calling for justice. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? The future is calling for justice. And then it's different. It goes like this. And the people will sing along. Try that. And the people will sing along. And then it's like this. And the singing will keep us strong. Let's try that. And the singing will keep us strong. That's the whole thing, but I'm going to change the words. With your help, I hope. The future is calling for what? Action. I want to sing about that. And then we'll add our other ideas as well. Yes, you knew. It is justice, but we can change it. This time, let's do action, okay? The future is calling for action. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? The future is calling for action. And the people will sing along, and the singing will keep. And the singing will keep us strong. What else is the future calling for? For kindness. I want to sing about that. The future is calling for kindness. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? The future is calling for kindness, and the people will sing along, and the singing will keep us strong. What else is the future calling for? for belonging. Oh, we know that one. The future is calling for belonging. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? The future is calling for belonging, and the people will sing along, and the singing will keep us strong, and the people will sing along, and the people will sing along, and the singing will keep, and the singing will keep us strong. Amen. Oh, hey, give yourselves a round of applause. That was beautiful. Come on. So I just want you to take a moment to notice how it has felt to listen to each other's stories, sing together. What's a word that comes to mind to describe what that's been like for you? And if your word is terrible, that's okay. You can say that, be honest. But how would you describe your feeling singing and listening and sharing stories? Say that again? Oneness, energizing, validating, beautiful, connected, community, comfort, hopeful. Yeah. My take is that singing in community, which is a part of church life that is incredible. I think singing in community helps us practice most of the things that we need to be good community organizers and stay involved in the causes that we care about, such as learning in public, making mistakes, and staying in it anyways. Whew, we need that. Being playful, even when things are serious. Being serious, even when things are playful. Listening to each other. I think there's so much of these kind of intangible skills that are really hard to practice, that we get to practice when we're singing together and we don't actually have to think about it, which is good. Because if you try to practice like being vulnerable, how do you do that? That's really hard. You do it by doing something together that kind of welcomes that in. So I really appreciate that all of you took a chance and tried something different tonight. And if my sort of passion is like, where can singing live in support of community work where it doesn't yet? So if anyone ever wants to talk more about that or wants help bringing singing to your boring staff meetings, for example, I would be honored to have you reach out to me for real. And I just want to leave you with a few ideas I have for like action to take. One is cultivate your sense of belonging, because you're going to need it to keep showing up for the things you care about. So those places you talked about that give you that sense of connection, cultivate your relationship with the land, with each other, because we're going to need to remember that we belong. Have real conversations with people you might not agree with. Could be someone in your family, could be your neighbor, could be someone in this room. But the way I think about it, if we can't have a difficult conversation with someone we actually like, then we're really screwed. And I don't want to believe that we're really screwed. So have real conversations across differences. And my last thing is, because this has been helpful for me, connect with an organization, maybe you already have, that's doing strategic policy work that you care about. So I do a lot of volunteering and organizing and stuff with Take Action Minnesota, which maybe you've heard of, and with Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light, which maybe you're also connected with. And I find it so helpful to have someone who's like smarter than me at strategic policy thinking invite me in. And they want people involved so bad. And keep singing. Keep using your voice. It's powerful, and the world needs every single one of us to show up as our whole selves, bring in everything we got, probably, and then some. So thank you so much. And I ate up all my time, but if you want to get coffee and a cookie and talk more and have questions and stuff, I'm cool with that. But we're at our closing time, so big thank you. Can we all give ourselves a round of applause? Thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. Many thanks to Margie for inviting me and to all of you for being so welcoming. Go for it. You can have this one.
First of all, thank you so much, Sarina. This was just wonderful. And I want to thank all of you for coming out. I know we had a lot of other conflicts in Northfield tonight, so thanks for showing up here. And I just want to invite you to our last program, which is May 1st. We're going to have a Carleton professor who's an artist, photographer, and he's going to be talking about visible and invisible borders. He does a lot of photography of our own migrant community in Northfield, but he's also done a lot of work on the border with Mexico. So I think it will be a really good person to come in here. So thank you.
Thanks. Awesome. Oh, and one more thing for me. I brought some CDs if you want to take home some of my music. You could. And a mailing list that if you want to keep in touch about stuff I'm leading in the Twin Cities Metro usually, but elsewhere as well. You could sign up at that back table.